Hey! I'm not gonna make this video too long because I am like worn out, exhausted. I feel like I'm actually gonna pass away right now. But I tried to tell y'all, alright, I was right about this shit the whole time, and everyone wanted to shit on me for it. But back in what? February? Yeah, the February Direct. And I think it was a February Direct. I don't know. It was sometime in February when Scarlet and Violet were announced, and I made a video saying, "Oh, this isn't really the greatest thing because the game's gonna be rushed. Like we just had BDSP in October of last year. Couple months later, Legends came out, and then exactly the release day of Legends, 1 month later that day, the Gen 9 was announced. So that's 3 Pokemon games within the span of almost a year, which that is a lot. And one of the minor points I made was that oversaturation, it's oversaturating the Pokemon market right now, because that's 3 Pokemon games within relatively the span of a year. I don't think I've seen any franchise have 3 games in 1 year. Alright, and like it's Pokemon of all things. Y'all can afford to take time and like multiple years between games and y'all will still be doing fine. The #1 highest grossing media, form of media in the world right now. So what are y'all rushing for? And I felt like it wouldn't be an issue if Scarlet and Violet had came out later, like next year, instead of same year it was announced, because I was saying that, oh, the game is coming out way too early, it's gonna be rushed, it's not gonna be finished or whatever, and like the game's just not done yet, and everyone was shitting on me for that. And then now that the game is out, y'all see what happened. It was all crickets. Nobody wanted to say anything. The game's out, it's glitchy and buggy as hell, and unacceptable for a lot of people in general. But I was trying to say this months and months ago, months and months before the game came out, and nobody wanted to hear it. But now that the game's out and they see it for themselves, crate, crickets, nothing from nobody. So I don't know, I don't want to say I told y'all, but I kind of told y'all, okay? Yeah, if they had just waited to release it next year, then this most likely wouldn't have been an issue. The game would be a lot better. They don't really have many big releases next year except for Tears of the Kingdom in May, Pikmin 4 sometime next year. So well, and now like Bayonetta Origins. But other than those 3, I can't really think of like big releases for next year. So they have plenty of time. I don't know why they tried to rush and put that out so early, especially since we got Legends Arceus a couple months after BDSP had dropped. And then when did Sword and Shield come out? 2020? Actually, let me see, because the gap between Sword and Shield and BDSP is... Bro, I did like no research, alright? I was just gonna make a quick little video talking about... Here we are. Sword and Shield came out 2019. Alright? And then we got BDSP in last year, right? Yeah, 2021. So there's a 2-year gap between Sword and Shield and BDSP. And BDSP were beautiful games. They were great. A lot of people didn't like the chibi art style, which, not surprised. I love the chibi art style. I didn't have a problem with it. But it was 2 years between the last like mainline Pokemon game. And so 3 years between generations. I guess, okay, so 2 year gap, that's really not that bad for Pokemon games. And then they dropped Legends Arceus a couple months after BDSP, which I was already kind of iffy about because, oh, y'all were releasing them so close together. You know, some people are going to be burned out from Pokemon with releasing them so close together. They could have released Arceus a little bit later and then saved Scarlet and Violet for next year. Because as you can see, Scarlet and Violet are clearly not finished. And I think I heard even they're starting to like refund Scarlet and Violet. They actually refunded people for those games because of how bad they are. Now, I enjoy the games. I enjoy Scarlet and Violet. Controversial take right here, but I don't really care. People have already been devouring me on Twitter for it. And you know what? I don't care. I'll become the villain. I don't care anymore. My name is Paragon of Torna after all. I'll be just like Jin, alright? I'm the villain. But at least to me, and I'm gonna make this very clear because apparently this somehow people skimmed over this even though it was the majority of my argument. I do understand that the game is unfinished and you know, it's unfinished and that's not acceptable. And they should definitely have taken more time to work on it and polish it and make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. But all of that like unfinished bugginess doesn't really bother me. Like the game is still playable, okay? Despite how bad it is, it's objectively still playable. It's okay. It's not like it's so broken that you literally can't play. The game's still playable. And from as much as I've played, I haven't really experienced any glitches or anything except for the camera glitching through the floor a couple times in a couple battles, but that's really about it. Other than that, the game has been really smooth for me. So the game is still fun and it's still playable, and that's really all I look for in games. As long as it's playable and it's enjoyable, then I don't really care how the game is, I'll still enjoy it no matter what. Because I'm not really a picky person at all. I'm very, very easy to please. I don't go into games with expectations, like at all. Because if you have expectations and then they're not met, you're going to be disappointed. So I don't go into anything really with expectations. That way I won't ever get like let down or disappointed by it. And, you know, I have my mind blown. But yeah, although the games are in a very fucked state, it doesn't really bother me too much. I do agree that it is unacceptable and, you know, the game shouldn't be in this type of state. Right, and I don't condone or support pushing out unfinished games, but you also might say, oh, you buying the game basically is supporting because it shows that people are still willing to buy the game even if it is in an unfinished state. And yes, that's true, but also if I want a game or if I like looking forward to playing a game, I'm still gonna play it either. It's kind of the same situation with Bayonetta. A lot of people were gonna boycott Bayonetta 3 because of the whole Helena Taylor thing, which turned out to be cat, by the way. But at the time when everyone thought it was true, a lot of people were gonna boycott the game. But I was gonna still get the game regardless because I have been waiting for it since announcement way back in February. Well, it was announced earlier than that, but we got the first gameplay trailer in February, and I was waiting for the game ever since then. I even got into the series and got the first 2 games because of the trailer of the 3rd game. Looked so nice and so good. I decided to go play the other 2 games before 3 came out. And Bayonetta is like one of my favorite series now. So I was definitely looking forward to the 3rd game, was going to buy it regardless. And because would have bought Bayonetta 3 doesn't mean I support Helena Taylor being underpaid and whatever else. I can still support her while buying the game and playing the game. So, I don't know. Just because I buy the game doesn't really mean I support what's going on. Maybe if you think about it in a very technical way, financially, monetarily wise, yeah, I'm supporting it, but like morally, I don't support it. And just because I buy the game doesn't mean I support it. And I'm gonna use like an analogy, not really an analogy, but example. It's kind of, it's like a double-edged sword, I guess. But this example is a little confusing, and I can see both sides of it, but kind of like with voting. Actually, let me not say that. So say if, you know, everything was still the same, the people who bought it, the people who didn't buy it. If I, as a person, decided not to buy the game, to not support it being in the unfinished state, there would still be all those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people who would still be buying the game. So me as one singular individual, disregarding the grand scheme of it all, me as one individual choosing not to buy the game won't make any difference at all. And you could say, oh, but there's thousands and thousands of people that have that exact mindset. And if they were all to change their mind, then it would make a big deal. And I understand that, but I'm just saying, disregarding all that and me as a singular person, if everything else was still the same, if I as one person decided not to buy the game, nothing would really change. So, you know, the games were still going to do massively well anyway. And just like how people have the right to not buy the game and support it, I still have the right to buy the game and play it because that's my choice. If I want to play the game, then I'll play the game. But yeah, this video kind of just turned from me saying, oh, I was right about Scarlet Violet being rushed and whatever, to just me kind of just ranting about and projecting about, you know, buying a game and, you know, supporting or not supporting, I guess. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm confusing myself, but I kind of just went off on a tangent. But I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm trying to say. The game was rushed like I said it would be, and nobody wanted to hear it. And now the game's out, everyone's saying, oh my god, this is unacceptable, da 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 da. It's almost as if I tried to say this before and no one wanted to hear it. But hey, you know, this is what happens when you're not, you know, hyper famous with a massive platform. No one really wants to listen to people. Everything's about social status, and life is basically just a huge popularity contest. Oh, you don't have thousands and thousands of followers on Twitter or subscribers? Your opinion doesn't matter. That's just kind of how people look at it. So, small channels and just small figures, personalities are always getting shit on in favor of the bigger ones. Which, there's nothing we can really do about that, but that's just kind of how it is, and it's tough. But yeah, controversial take. Although the games are really unacceptable and fucked right now, it doesn't bother me. I don't really care. As long as the game is still enjoyable and playable for me, then I'm going to like the game regardless. So everyone just has different expectations and standards, and those with lower standards shouldn't really be looked down upon or criticized because of those standards. Because there's reasons people have lower standards, just like there's reasons people have higher standards. Why criticize people with lower standards if you're not going to criticize the people with high standards? So make it equal, all right? Make it make sense. Everyone wants to talk about equality, but they only want it when it benefits them. So yeah, I kind of went on like a whole rant that didn't even have to do with the game. But yeah, I kind of told y'all. Those of y'all who didn't want to listen, I tried to tell y'all this would happen, and here we are. But yeah, speaking of that, I'm probably gonna go play some Pokemon Violet right now. So yeah, that's really about it for this video. So as always, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Stay safe. Be well and play some goddamn Xenoblade.